I wanna be an engineer, so freaking bad. Optimize the things I've always had. I wanna be on the cover of PC magazine, smiling next to Pentium machines. Oh, every time I close my eyes, I calculate a new design, yeah. An efficient way to quantify, oh, I swear my patent would be here if I was an engineer.
Welcome to Teknik Podcast. I'm Zanthas.
I'm Uncle D.
I'm Kori.
Dymatic. Let's misspell my name.
It's
Dymatic.
Also
Witheld?
known as Dynamic spelled wrong.
Also joining
It is
us
also that.
is Alusion and Pro Wolf, with another guest star is Witheld. All right,
Hi.
we're all here.
Woohoo!
Let's kick this off. So, guys, it's actually been over a month since our last aired podcast, or the podcast
it's been
that's
a
on
while.
the site.
Yeah, thanks,
And-
Zanthas. Your immune system done fucked us.
And we actually have done like recordings since then, and we actually we've gone together on Mumble, but the last podcast was a really big train wreck.
All right, I'm sorry. I have to stop this right now. Are you murdering someone in the background?
That wasn't me. Or
Help
my
me.
sister.
Your sister's being murdered.
Why is she screaming?
I don't
Your
know.
sister found the biggest spider on the East Coast by the sounds of it. Jesus Christ.
I didn't even hear anything. I had my headphones on.
Anyways,
Come on,
Things that make
serious
women scream
business.
like way more than they absolutely should is like rodents and spiders. I'll never understand it. They're both kind of cute.
Not when you find them unexpectedly.
I don't know, man. I've turned around from my computer before and I just saw like this mouse chilling in like a blanket. It was like the blanket made like a mouse burrito. It was pretty adorable.
you have mice just running around your house?
You don't?
No.
Are you a Disney
Oh.
princess by chance?
Welcome to. I do get a bit of wildlife in my room. Welcome to the East Coast. We get that like crazy. So we should actually I like how instantly before we even had a topic we derailed ourselves and just started talking about like biology.
But anyways,
Of course.
Biology
Serious
technology.
business.
So sorry about like not posting anything for the last month. Our very large audience that cares about us.
I think it's like 5.
All three of them.
All three of you are probably very upset right now.
But
I
don't
was
you
one of
worry.
I wonder what the use case for Technicast is. Like, where do people listen to us? Just like sitting at home, neck bearding about,
I don't know.
gymming it.
I listen to most of my podcasts like when I'm taking public transportation. So
I have it on my phone just whenever I'm not home, mostly.
I usually listen to podcasts whenever I'm coding.
Let's talk about SWAT-D.
oh guys, if you
Talk
guys
about
heard of
what?
SWAT Damon.
Is that like a System D replacement?
No, it's a daemon that's if your case your computer's taken by police officers, it's supposed to destroy everything if they don't power it down. I don't know how it works.
I read about that on the Reddits.
Yeah, Zanthas just think.
What exactly would that do? So when you take it off of power, it would just wipe it.
It says it checks sensors.
Yep.
So if something weird happens, it deletes everything.
Leave a man horror disk in there; it'll do the same fucking thing.
Yeah, but not when you want it to.
Yeah, that's true. I was reading. I actually did read this thread on Reddit. Forgot about that. And they were saying that any forensic analyst worth his salt would hook before they turn the computer back on. They would hook up the computer to some kind of drive that doesn't allow write access, so it couldn't wipe the information.
Remember, law enforcement, they tried to take the computers powered on, and they have devices they can hook up to your socket and then pull the socket out and keep your computer on battery. That way they don't lose the keys. And so this is supposed to monitor sensors, so if something weird changes and it's still running, then it destroys everything.
I kind of want one of those law enforcement things, so you can keep it plugged in and still move devices around.
How do the sensors know what's good and what's not?
It's just arbitrary sensors, and it checks for a threshold. If it passes and it fails the threshold, then it
What kind of sensor information are they using? Like, the only sensor I know about that's on computers would be temperature. But how would law enforcement affect that?
It does. It looks like it's just for like whatever sensors you want to provide.
Can it be like the push of a button?
That would be called a dead man switch.
Yeah, I think you could do that a little more simpler than with their script.
Yeah, more than likely. I've heard of some complex fucking setups for that. Actually, I've always been the one in the channel to shit on people caring about privacy and whatnot, but I've actually gotten a lot more into it since last last month or so. But I feel like I'm doing it retarded.
How do you know this works?
I'll look at SWAT Demon.
Oh, I'm looking at it now, and basically it runs a command. It runs a command, so the sensors are completely arbitrary. Just whatever you want to hook up to your computer.
Good shit.
So I can have like a water sensor in case like Navy SEALs come dripping in wet from a mission, and that'll trip the sensor, and they'll be like, "Oh, SEAL Team 6 is here. Better destroy myself," and it trips like some thermite or something. I don't know.
That's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know. I imagine you'd probably like jam a GPS unit or something in there, and they wouldn't be expecting that to carry the computer out, and then it's deleting itself.
That's a good idea for the sensors. If it detects like rapidly changing GeoIP or something, it could say that it's being transported by law enforcement and wipe it.
So it basically just runs as something, and if it returns as something that's not 0, then it does what it does.
Yeah, if it's past the threshold.
Damn, Bitcoin's going up
What is it?
really fast too.
That's bad.
What's the price?
It's 251, and Litecoin went up.
Shit.
Litecoin went up almost 70%.
So I bought Bitcoin for like the second time recently, and I lost a lot of money because I bought it when it was 330, and then dropped to 270, and I panicked, just sold.
Yeah. I'm trying to get some more Litecoin.
What service do you use for that? For Bitcoin, for the coins?
It's been a while, but there's ATMs showing up in my city.
Bitcoin ATMs?
Yeah,
Where are you?
What?
I'm in DC.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was trying to be first with them, but it costs a lot more than I thought.
Weren't you like leading like some sort of group to try and get them in your city?
Yeah, they're still going on, but I dropped them for the virtual reality group in the time being.
Okay.
Yeah, they weren't really going.
Is there still money to be made in Bitcoin or any of the other coins that can be mined?
I wouldn't try to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Microsoft's starting to accept them. The Inside Bitcoin conference is coming up, explaining new blockchain technology. That's going to be in April. And there's a lot of exciting stuff, such as lending services, and the Winklevoss brothers just released their new exchange called Gemini. So there's a lot of development going on right now. It's just been baking in an oven over winter.
To answer your question, if there's money to be made, Flygon's roommate pays for his rent completely in Bitcoin.
That's
And
very
his-
interesting.
That's cool.
It is. His business strategy is to buy later coins, or not later coins, buy other coins, and buy Bitcoins in them, and then sell the Bitcoins.
Well, if that's working out for him.
Yeah, because Bitcoin with digital currency is just like the exchange format, and then Bitcoin's popular enough that you can change that for actual money, so you're good. You're set if you can get it into Bitcoin. Really, motherfuckers, I look away to Snapchat for 1 second and you guys didn't say anything.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know how to contribute to that.
It's good.
But we have a humongous topic list this time, so we should probably get around to it.
Yeah.
Considering that we're merging last week's podcast into this one because it was so horrible, we're gonna.
Well, last fortnights.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, this is very much like a cleaning house kind of episode.
Yeah, this pretty much takes care of anything from like December 4th until
Spring
now.
cleaning. That's the episode. So the title of the episode is Spring Cleaning.
But it's okay.
A couple months early,
Okay.
jump with the gun a little bit. Pre-spring cleaning.
Would anybody like to start off with the message of our sponsors, Microsoft?
I don't know. I would have been so happy to, and I was still Microsoft chill in episode 7.5. But I don't know now. Iffy.
What? You didn't like the keynote?
I didn't see the keynote, to be fair.
Wait, is being a Microsoft shill a requirement for this?
No.
No.
Yes.
No, he's
Maybe?
not.
But even hating Microsoft, you have to give them some credit for some of the things they unveiled at the keynote.
What exactly did they unveil?
So they did the whole Windows 10 reveal. Well, they already revealed it, but they did some more
gentlemen,
technical
gentlemen.
updates for it.
We should go with the older news first.
Okay.
Okay.
Keep the
That was
relevant
the shakiest
stuff.
answer.
Keep the relevant stuff for.
Hey.
Alright,
Uh,
Moot leaves. Next.
Well, I
Moot.
mean, I think personally, I thought the biggest story of before was the having Fedora 20 come out. Which, well, he said go to older stuff. That's some pretty old stuff, dude. It happened in between the two reporting cycles. Fedora 21, rather. The Fedora that's old enough to drink. Oh wait.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, I'm not screwing this up. Which I installed it. It was great. Everything is great until it's not, which actually happens pretty quickly with Fedora installs.
What did you have a problem with?
Audio, which I guess in Linux you can kind of expect that, but Fedora shit the bed a lot faster with audio than you would expect it to. It's just gone.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, and Mumble isn't in the default repos, and you can't compile it because it needs some weird library version. Overall, I would recommend the Fedora for developers if they're coming into Linux and they want to try to get a handle on what developing for Linux is like, because they really kind of geared it towards the developers, and you can tell because they have a bunch of neat products like Devasis in there. But for the average user, not worth it.
But how are they going to podcast?
Yeah,
What?
that's the only thing. That's why I can't be on Fedora right now.
Fedora sucks.
Are they actually shipping Wayland now?
No.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
Implying that's
What do you-
usable.
lying through his teeth. They shipped Wayland, and you have the option when you start GNOME to boot completely into a Wayland environment.
Did you manage to get
What's on?
Did you manage to get that to work?
I actually did. And really, if you're not doing something anything too intensive, you can't even tell you're on Wayland.
Nice.
The future is here.
Future is Fedora.
You're one of Witheld. This person who's talking, by the way. You're one of the more adamant free software people, right?
A little bit.
You might like
Just
it because Fedora enforces the free software agenda, so there's no non-free software in the repositories. But for the end user, that actually ends up causing a pretty big pain in the ass. I had a lot of trouble with video drivers.
Dude, just RPM Fusion that shit.
Oh well, I don't have a problem
Yes.
with non-free repos, and I run non-free software on my computer. So I'm practical. I try to be practical.
Okay. So
I'm
you're
using
not,
Fedora for one of my classes, and I did find that it locks up a lot, and it just sometimes doesn't work in general.
it does have a tendency to do that. It has quirks.
Do you know if the KDE version comes with Wayland or not?
I don't know for sure.
I'm not sure KDE is ready to ship with Wayland, is it?
no, KDE 5 is not out yet, and I can't wait for it to come out because it's awesome.
Oh, sweet. Illusion, we were just talking about that in the pre-show, because a lot
Oh,
of
cool.
the next generation distros are actually going to be shipping with KDE 5.
Oh, I love KDE.
I really love
I do too.
KDE. I'm running it right now. I'm running KDE 5 right now.
Yeah, if Debian, Jesse, and KDE 5 were to hurry up, I would be very happy.
We're going to hit in 2015 the same kind of environment we hit in 2012 with all the new desktop environments coming out. Except, well, I take that back, because KDE is really the only one. 2012 was a weird year in that we had GNOME 3 and the new KDE and all that shit, like Mate and Cinnamon, all hit at the same time. We'll probably see about half that much activity in 2015, but it's coming.
A lot of stabilization, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, next on the list,
We should
Every
talk
time I
about
get a Snapchat, Jesus Christ.
We should talk about the dark mail protocol.
yeah, let's talk about
That's racist,
privacy
though.
and dark mail.
What is ArcMail?
The new Dime protocol is the source code got released and for peer review. It's in alpha. It's Ladar's, the guy from LavaBit, and Silent Circle's project to create a protocol in which it's resistant to snooping, and that anyone eavesdropping would only be able to see the size of the message being sent. Everything is encrypted.
That's it is nice.
Can it be used with regular email?
Yeah, it's a protocol. So it's sort of like SSH compared to Telnet. Dime is to SMTP.
No, I think what he meant is, can you send through dark mail to someone who does not have dark mail?
Which would be no.
Yeah.
Right, it's a complete protocol replacement. Which we talked about this in episode 2 of 7.5, and I guess now that their whole business strategy was, or not business strategy, but just adoption strategy was to fix the problems of the SMTP and then sell Dime through that. Rather than just say, hey, it's more private than the competitors. They say it's better than the competitors, and there's privacy. It's not like the first thing they push.
It seems to be a little weird to be pushing something like email right now, when email's not really used for communication that much outside of formal matters.
Oh no, email sucks. After 20 years, still, it's horrible. I don't, this has been much needed.
A lot of people still send email.
Some people send it socially. I send it socially to a couple of people just because the area I live in, we don't have SMS coverage everywhere, so it's just more convenient sometimes to email people back and forth, especially if you're sending attachments.
Right.
Yeah.
Although, I don't think those type of people would care about the privacy aspects of it. They would definitely care. About it being better in general SMTP though.
But the enterprise use of this could be tremendous.
Yeah, good.
Because a lot of enterprise companies that we've worked with, where I work, we have a lot of issues transferring files and stuff like that because we want it secure. And we can't use email because it's not secure. But if this was implemented, then that'd be a lot easier than having to have third-party FTP servers that send to something else. And
what's the normal solution for sending files securely enterprise?
SFTP usually. That's how Google does
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I use that locally at home just because.
What kind of files are you transferring there, Uncle?
A lot of source files. Mainly source files, design documents, stuff like that.
That's the weird thing to me, that you would be using email for that anyway. When like a version control system, you would think would have a better handle on that.
All of that is within our version control system, but we don't want to give access to that to other companies.
Okay. That's making more sense.
Yeah, so if we have little snippets that we want to send them, if we're working in collaboration with another team and a different company, then we want to share information but not give them access to everything.
Sounds like there's a lot of lawyers involved.
Yeah, a few.
I read a pretty good read up on Satya Nadella over the past 2 weeks. This isn't related to Dime too much as it is just related to Microsoft, because people are praising him to all hell. One of the more recent things that happened, which is actually in the last 2 weeks, not like our month backlog, was that Microsoft migrated one of their projects, a big project, Roselyn, to GitHub, which is just the latest in a long line of Microsoft decisions to move towards what is popular in the tech industry. So, in this case, fucking GitHub. And people were losing their shit about Satya Nadella.
More important than just GitHub, it's that they've moved it to open source.
Yeah, that, and something that's not code-wise, which is something that surprised a lot of people.
And what license was it? I remember it wasn't even the Microsoft open source license. It was one of the regular ones, wasn't it?
For Roselyn, I'm not sure. I know they open sourced they open sourced something under MIT before. They've been known to use the MIT.
Really? I thought .NET was made free software under BSD.
It definitely wasn't the BSD license. I think it was just the standard MIT, which is just.
Please don't say BSD. You have to be specific.
Roselyn is Apache.
BSD 2 clause, okay?
Okay. Just saying.
Is 2 clause the standard license? I thought 3 clause was when you say BSD, you're talking universal 3 clause through and through.
That's why you got to be specific. You can't be ambiguous.
BSD is really ambiguous. It means a lot.
Is it just me, or is the new CEO an Indian version of Steve Jobs?
I would have to.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I'm
Would have to
gonna
agree.
have to agree.
What I was getting to with that whole thing, though, was people are saying this guy's doing great because of all the changes that have happened with .NET being open sourced and the .NET compilers open sourcing and everything. But on Reddit, somebody said that this is most likely Steve Ballmer, like, influencing before he left, just for the sake of the good PR that they're now getting. And
I'll be talking a little more about that later, but yeah, I agree with that because it takes companies this large a long time to get these things moved through the stages and actually implemented. So since Satya was only in office for what is it, a year and a half now?
Yeah.
2 years, but it would have had to been underneath Ballmer's rule to where it was initiated and started.
Companies like this move at a fucking crawl. It's like continental drift, basically. So it's not all Satya. We really have yet to see what Satya will really be like.
Yeah, but so far I'm liking it.
Oh yeah, I don't think a bad decision has really been made on Microsoft's part since they got the guy. Maybe it's just like the Pope and we only hear the good shit, but I don't know. He's done some shady shit, by the way. Pope Francis. Ooh. There's some stories there. It's not.
Speaking of the Pope, what do you guys think of Linus?
Linus?
And his comments he made.
Amazing segue. Wait, what do you say about the Pope?
Talking about the SJW shit.
Yeah.
Based as usual.
He's never wrong. Can't fault the guy.
I agree. This may get SJW on our ass, but I agree with Linus in that you really can't concern yourself with what people are feeling when you're trying to develop a product, unless that product is made to make people feel a certain way.
Yeah, I agree with him, but I don't think it was the takedown that people are trying to like make it out to be. You know, people are like, "Oh, he told the social justice warriors to fuck off." You know, it was just like it wasn't that big. But
He said much more cutting shit in the past.
Yeah, mostly to top developers, which is the only people he tells off. People who should know what they're fucking doing.
Does anyone have a link to what he said?
Link.
They basically said that you shouldn't worry about like diversity in tech as long as people do a good job, some shit like that.
Wasn't anything like that. He's just saying, you know, he's going to cuss people. He's not going to worry about making people uncomfortable. He's going to cuss them out if they should be doing something and they're not.
Basically, not have diversity for the sake of diversity, but rather strive to have a good product.
Yeah.
Exactly. In tech, I don't care if they have a dick or a vagina. I don't care what color your dick is. As long as you get the product out, I'm good with it. I don't care what made it. I don't know if that's what we're talking about at all.
I don't see it as Google Plus.
It is.
When Linus Terry responded to Linus in that Google Plus post, I think.
He did.
Terry A. Davis?
Yeah.
The one and only.
He's been riding Linus's dick lately. He's finally gotten to a point. Terry A. Davis is the developer of Temple OS, which used to be Sparrow OS. Should we just give a background really quick on what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a ring 0 only, which means everything runs kernel level, single address mapped, so every process can edit the memory RAM, that is, of every other process's memory operating system that this schizophrenic guy has developed over like 10 years. And
in assembly.
In assembly. Well, he kind of has his own dialect of C now.
It's developed in
Holy
C, his own language, which isn't much like C.
He also wrote his own compiler and assembler. I'm just putting that out there.
He's a fucking genius.
He's done this whole thing himself. Everything's his love and care.
Goddamn genius, but so
64-bit.
Yeah, it's like 64-bit DOS in a way.
Commodore 64, rather. A modern Commodore 64.
If you've read I've read an interview from him, and you know when he started becoming schizophrenic, and he He just like lost it, and he freaked out, and he drove to Mexico and got lost in the desert and got arrested. It was pretty bad.
You'd be fun at parties.
I wonder why he grew the schizophrenia. Does anyone know why?
Schizophrenia paranoid schizophrenia sets in around 18 to 20 something, and it just happens, and you're paranoid schizophrenia, and suddenly you have paranoid schizophrenia.
It could just be dormant.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a cognitive. Oh,
You're just a
not
normal
cognitive, it's a
person, and
genetic
next thing you know, you're naked in a prison in Mexico.
Sounds like one weekend. Part of me wonders how much of him is just playing this up, though, his schizophrenia, or if it's all just legitimate.
I think I've talked to him a few times, and I'm pretty sure it's legitimate. He's
Okay. No. That's unfortunate, because he's a smart little cookie. Had it not been for the whole, crazy thing, he could have been a great contributor to the Linux kernel or any open source project, really.
Yeah,
I was watching...
Simple OS is definitely interesting, and I'm glad it exists.
Terry A. Davis has a YouTube channel, too. Kori and I have been... because he's been saying that it's on par with Linux and stuff like that now. But he has... The graphical environment is so well thought out that I was like, God damn, I wish that Linux had something like this. So he's not wrong. He's made a damn good product. He was in a terminal and he typed circle parenthesis and then gave it 4 coordinates, and it drew a circle on the display server, like over Windows and everything.
It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it is. Well, that's the power of Ring Zero, really. It's the Wild West. Just do whatever you want.
No. That's the power of schizophrenia.
Yeah.
No, really, he made a video where he was talking about it's quite funny, actually. Some of his most screwed up videos are with the most normal titles, and then there's this video which is titled "Brutal Takedown of LINUS TORVALDS," and he just proceeds to make all the sense in the world, and he talks about his own operating system, like what was the purpose and everything else. I think that's amazing.
That's one video, and then in the next video, he's like, I need more art, but no fags. Like, the schizophrenia just makes him jump from being an appropriate, rational guy to just being this, like, ball of crazy.
Racist.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how about some privacy stuff going on, such as the Silk Road case? Has anyone been paying attention to that other than I?
No,
I don't know about
Silk
it.
Road.
Tell me.
His best friend testified against him, and everything I've seen, it looks like he is Dread Pirate Roberts, and he's gonna get convicted.
What's going on?
They,
Dread Pirate Roberts is who?
yeah.
The guy, I don't know his real name. He's Dread Pirate
Ross
Roberts.
Ulbricht.
Like, what is
The
that
founder
do?
of Silk Road. He's a
Okay.
person. This is
Yeah,
like
it's-
what he goes by.
Yeah, so
Handle.
I'm just going to kind of jump in here real fast. So his name is Ross Ulbricht, or Ulbricht. I've heard it kind of both ways. And he ended up getting picked up out of, I think, San Francisco, and with the feds tagging on him like, oh, you were running Silk Road, and has kind of dropped off since then. Hasn't really said a whole lot, and then the case started. And all roads seem to point to him is Dread Pirate Roberts.
Let me tell you how it happened. Basically, there were some undercover feds that went into San Fran Public Library, where he was in the corner of the computer science building, and they were arguing and disputing, and then when they had the chance, they got his laptop before he could shut it down and go into an encryption state, and they had him and then they got onto his computer where he was continuing a chat on TorChat with some guy named VJ who was his mentor. Anyways, they got pictures and evidence of his journal because he decided to document all of his activities in case they ever made a movie about his life. So he thought that would be a good idea.
That's
And,
some beautiful narcissism.
Yeah. Anyways, so his whole journal is published online, and so you could read back to when he just started Silk Road, just selling shrooms,
Yeah,
trying to
so-
set up a server and stuff like that.
So I'm looking at his diary or his journal here, and it says on here. Ooh, I just miss it. Basically, there's this whole part about him saying like, "Oh, I don't know how to start a website. I don't know how to run any of this," and then he goes and starts a drug selling operation.
The most notorious drug selling operation in all of the darknet.
Yeah, but this case is much more than just Ross because, you know, it has to do with like the state's power versus the individual and the existence of such marketplaces and, you know, what, like they don't even know how they even found the Silk Road servers, for instance. So that's still a mystery.
Here's what I'm curious about a little bit is, so he makes this website that provides services to vendors, right? And
That's correct.
The vendors are at fault for what they sell. How is the creator of the Silk Road himself responsible?
I mean, he tried to commission 5 murders. Also,
Okay, yeah, that's
he
cool.
is charged under the Kingpin charge.
Yeah, and it's a racketeering thing too, because he's even if he is the, you know, he may have provided the area for this drug trade to occur in, but under racketeering laws, my understanding at least is that he is responsible for every single one of those sales.
Yeah, he got commission on all of them. Like,
yeah,
his wallet had 144,000 Bitcoin, and they have like he didn't have the greatest OPSEC for his wallet, and there's this service which does intelligence blockchain mining, and so he's like, it's very much linked to him.
And actually, so getting back to the how they found this whole thing, the thing, I've heard a bunch of different ideas about exactly how they figured out how Silk Road was running, but the one that I heard that made the most sense, and I'm not super well educated in this kind of stuff, but basically there was a CAPTCHA on Silk Road that was I'm guessing to stop people from probably double buying stuff and stuff like that, but that CAPTCHA was forward facing. So it wasn't just on the Tor network. It was also, you could also ping it from the just from the open network. And so my understanding is that the feds basically were able to figure out where he was from off of that. And then after that, they just had to get him set up in a situation where they could figure out who he actually was.
That's how they located the server?
That's my understanding. That came out of I want to say that may have been Schneier at some point. That was kind of what he was suggesting as being the thing.
Yeah, Snowden and Schneier just had a conversation at Harvard a couple days ago. It's a very interesting talk between them. I would highly recommend checking it out.
I'd love to check that out then.
Between who and who?
But the Ross donation fund, it's they're trying to raise $450,000 for Ross and his family to fight this case, because it really bears on like the future of the net and, you know, the state's powers. And, you know, CISPA just got revived from the dead again. That was after the Sony leaks.
That's a failure of democracy right there. That it can be shot down so vehemently 3 times and still just keep coming back.
It's the same bill, exact same thing rewritten.
Same wording. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was holding that mic.
And I mean, there's real attacks against the internet going on right now, like Cameron and Obama fighting for like backdoors and encryption, and like these things need to be more vocalized, and you know, it's very important. It'll affect us forever.
Yeah,
I don't disagree, but it's technical to the point where the standard voter can't understand it.
Yes.
No one
so
understands.
Getting back to the Silk Road case, one of the I think the lawyer for the prosecution said that the Tor network is gibberish to most Americans, which you could kind of blow out to the entire privacy and encryption and all this entire conversation. To most people, this is all gibberish.
Oh, I'm a computer person, and it's gibberish to me most of the time. When like the big boys in the privacy are talking about how stuff works and whatnot. I have no fucking clue what's going on. You try explaining that to Joe Schmo that barely knows how to open Internet Explorer. It's just not going to be a good time.
Well, that's something that I'm trying to be more active in, and since I live down in the capital, my local hackerspace just hosted an internet security workshop aimed at beginners and newbies, just to for non-technical people to understand the basics of how to defend themselves against dark arts, what is Tor, what is PGP, and basic privacy and security online. And so and no one on Capitol Hill understands this stuff, which is really sad, because this is, a fierce battle going on right now. FBI is trying to call for more legal powers to legally hack anyone that, you look suspicious from here, just because you're trying to hide your connection. So if you use VPN or Tor, they're seeking legislation to hack you.
Yeah, you're automatically flagged if you send too much encrypted data. They're like, something's going on with this guy, encrypt his data.
Yeah, they'll put a selector on you, and basically you're on the list.
Yeah, and on top of that, you've got this is sort of coming out of the State of the Union address. I forget exactly where I read this. I want to say it was Motherboard, but there's been a lot of talk about Obama pushing for stronger. Basically, they want to rewrite the CFAA. So, and the CFAA is the law that put people like Kevin Mitnick in jail, and it's that law they passed immediately following that 80s movie War Games.
Yeah, it's what prosecutes hackers harsher than rapists and murderers.
Yeah, and he's been talking about like, we need to restructure this law, which we totally need to, but Obama seems to want to make it stronger, and it's already just a fucking mess. And instead of actually saying like, all right, let's tear this down and then try to rethink this thing, instead they want to make it so that the stuff I'm hearing is that they want to throw,
the UK wants to throw a death penalty, dude.
Yeah, and they want to throw it. They want to throw encryption under the bus. They want to throw Tor under the bus. They want to, these apparently are weapons. This is the second crypto wars. This is the beginning of the second crypto wars.
What will be the first? Because I've been outside of the
It was in the 90s,
sector.
and
PGP?
they were debating like different.
PGP.
PGP was the main.
Yeah, so the way that got broke, I'm kind of recalling this a lot of this secondhand, but what ended up happening is that there was all this stuff about like, oh, we've got this encryption, but technically encryption is a military, like it's a military product. It's like selling weapons, so you couldn't ship it outside of the United States. And what it's an arm, yeah. And basically, what somebody did, if I understand right, is they printed out an explanation of an algorithm and then went to Canada with it, and that started this huge fucking shitstorm.
Yeah. Wasn't there later a book published with the source code of an encryption program?
That
because
might be
the book
what
could
I'm
not
thinking
be. Yeah, because the book couldn't be censored, but they couldn't stop the book from crossing the lines with any existing laws.
Was that applied cryptography by any chance?
Dude, what?
One more time? Sorry.
Was that applied cryptography by any chance? The book?
I'm looking it up now. Hold on.
That was Schneier's book. I mean, he published Blowfish. And GPG is free software. And speaking of GPG, it was at the Chaos Communication Congress that they revealed what a Prism log looks like, your dossier from the PRISM program. And it seems that the NSA cannot decrypt OTR and GPG right now. It's giving them trouble.
It's good.
And so,
I use both. I'm happy.
Yeah. An example of free and open source software actually working. And Stallman was right.
I'm not sure I trust libpurple that much, but OTR itself seems pretty secure.
Yeah, the cryptography, the mathematics is sound. It works, properly implemented cryptography.
The Sultan has this interesting quirk about him that you can listen to something he says and think this guy is a paranoid tinfoil hat motherfucker, and then 10 years down the road you look back and you just see how right he is about everything he says.
Maybe I'm just a fucking neo-Luddite or something, but the movement towards more computers here, more digitizing more information does not seem like a good idea to me.
I second that.
Does not?
Well, what I'm wondering about is, yes, you're putting kids'
One thing-
information online, but also you're completely losing the social aspect of school.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Like the social aspect of school, the
Is a
most.
fucking enormous part.
I think it's the most important part. Learn how to behave in society.
It is the
Learn
part.
how to be a decent human being. Because you got to face it, when like little kids are little, they're like horrible human beings. School and their parents help them become a decent person, decent citizen.
It forces you into social situations, which if you're more inclined to be introverted or I don't know what you call that, more like like isolated, you would never find yourself in a social situation outside of school, and a MOOC just completely obliterates that whole aspect.
Yeah, but that's why Oculus and Facebook are looking into education as well to bring in like virtual reality schools.
Really not the same.
Not the same, man.
There's also something
you can't feel the wedgie in VR.
And I mean, I've personally met a lot of kids who were homeschooled who are, fucking assholes.
I'd say that high school would probably made me more of an asshole just by seeing how others act, to be honest. Like, it made me have a more negative view as to how terrible most people are. And another thing that about, classrooms going away is, after that, there won't be any anime about high school life.
Yeah,
There's not gonna be anime.
It's going to start in Japan, and that's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, it'll totally change a lot of paradigms in anime.
I'm suddenly much more excited about this.
That's also every movie from the American 80s, by the way, too.
Yeah. Every cartoon has to do that's non animals and shit, little kids. That's cool.
Well, let's just say that a major media company bought the rights to produce a movie for Ready Player One, and that's basically like the snow crash for the 21st century. If you don't know what snow crash is, it basically is what defined the metaverse and virtual reality and avatars. Ready Player One is sort of like Willy Wonka meets The Matrix, and what they have in that is a virtual reality universe where everybody works, lives, and goes to school in VR, and the main protagonists, they all go to the same school. And so it's going to catch on to culture. I mean, VR is definitely going to be, this is the year of VR, and so is the next few years. It's going to just grow exponentially into education.
I'm for virtual reality, but there's something about physically touching a person or physically interacting with people.
Dude, haptic feedback.
Okay, you just really need to be with real people while you're growing up. Kind of important.
And just in general.
Yeah, it is.
And you're gonna be with real people when you work forever, and you need to know how to deal with them.
But I don't think I think that's also I think in sort of like a futurist perspective. I think a lot of that is just you're looking at society as it is now as the only way that society can be. Where I don't think Ready Player One is a fucking terrifying existence, but like if that's if you imagine a world in which you can go work through your computer, that where everyone is telecommuting, then what's the point of ever having anybody socialize if they're just doing their socializing online anyway?
Well, humans are biological. They started biological.
Yeah.
So there are processes.
So much more rapidly.
Look, and furthermore,
like with international people.
That's fine for people that are introverted, but for extroverts, you're not going to be productive without human contact. Really, you need that as like a recharging period if you're that type of personality type.
But I mean, even most introverts need some getting out and seeing people.
Yep.
Yeah, but what about it'll start in things like what about learning a foreign language? One of the best ways that I learned was I was in a guild with a lot of German and Dutch people, and they helped me learn German. But with VR, you can actually be with German people, and you could have much more affordable foreign exchange, especially because this technology is going to get cheaper because it's based off mobile tech and the internet, and so people can usually schools are limited to like local areas, the people that you live around, but this is going to just cross so many different cultures and communities together.
It's a beautiful
imagine the
future
club-
and also a
yeah.
terrifying future.
Imagine the clubs that'll be born from this and like the collaboration opportunities.
Think
Well,
of the
I have a
dank
question.
memes.
Well, if we find ourselves in a society where suddenly all the children are doing all their schooling on their computers or tablets or laptops or phones, whatever, and let's say they don't get out. Well, if a few, I know it seems really weird to us and really strange, but if it happens on for a few generations, then do you think that maybe they won't know the difference and then it won't matter maybe?
Oh no. Well, the thing is, the classroom is going away, and that basically, I mean, schools have served as like an information repository for these students where they fill them up with information, but it's more about navigating information now. They don't need any memorization skills. They need to know how to navigate because information is free like air. And so...
Alright, Stallman.
No, it really is like...
Well, I kind of disagree with that because there are some fundamental knowledge that you need to memorize just to be productive. If you don't and have to search for this information, like times tables, all that stuff, general language
I feel like
knowledge.
all of the elementary and middle school stuff is pretty much stuff that you're going to need for the rest of your life, just as the foundations, building blocks.
Yeah,
but stuff that you learn in high school, easily Googleable, Googleable outside of mathematics.
Yeah,
mathematics is kind of a special field where you do need
mathematics. There's now a program that does algebra and actually prints out the steps to get to the answer as well.
Tiger algebra.
Is it called Wolfram Alpha?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm finding that through both college and high school that I had lots of trouble for whatever reason after about 6th grade in high school. I don't think I could probably do most 7th grade mathematics, to be honest, at this point. I don't know why. I was just really terrible at it. And I found that, to me personally, there's really no gains to actually learning it because it can all be done with the computer. I mean, I know that sounds pretty bad. I do know that we need people to learn algebra and whatnot and all that calculus and trigonometry and, but we...
and pronunciation.
Unless you're really a high-end mathematics person, you plan to get into the high-end math, I think for the most part, a calculator is going to be, sufficient for the general population who just sort of, are more concerned with more trivial things like, 99-cent cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Google is an AI company, and when you have a question, even when it comes to math, you can just query it. And
Wolfram Alpha is still a lot better for asking mathematical questions.
Yeah, Wolfram. Why not? They have an API and stuff, You just
no, I mean they have better results and they can do more.
Yeah.
I've been talking in the channel recently today. Go on.
I don't know.
I was just about to say how I've been talking in G Technology recently today about how many times Google has surprised me with their little contextual answers. It's come a long way since DuckDuckGo introduct. What the fuck?
Sometimes you just use the search bar just to remember stuff, because it autocompletes.
I mean, I was typing.
I do too. I do that all the time. I remember part of the Kori and
characters in Big Bang Theory, and it showed a list of all the characters in Big Bang Theory, the actors, and stuff like that, in a little contextual menu.
Actually, the one that really got me is I typed in there the Skin Surf, and it gave me the lyrics from a song from a band called Terramellos. It was just it just sort of popped up in the results there's the lyrics, fuck you, and it
shit.
Yeah, and amazed me because it's just sort of oh shit, Google's fucking, they stepped the game up. Oh damn.
I did best songs of 2013, and it popped up a list of the best songs rated the best songs of 2013 with little links to play one in line on the Google page.
According to this, All About That Bass is the best song of 2014. Please kill me.
I didn't know that song was about butts until this year.
That's pretty funny.
And it's also about blowing out audio systems.
I've probably done that a couple times tonight.
I recently learned something I thought was very interesting. One of the women at work had a kid, And I just sort of went and I was just sort of bored. I just went to her Facebook profile, and apparently, it is completely normal for new parents, or at least the normal fag ones, to just post pictures of the kids on Facebook. So essentially, what's happening is, without their consent, a lot of their personal information is just being put out there, and they'll have no idea what it's like to not have your entire life on the internet without your consent.
If I may interject for a moment, children don't deserve consent.
Check your age.
But anyways,
let's never take that out of
Parents have been
context.
doing that forever. It doesn't matter the medium. They've been showing your picture since they've had pictures.
There's something that seems to be said, like anybody can view a kid's pictures on the internet. Most parents don't set their privacy settings right. But a children doesn't need a consent of their parents to do things. That's what the parent is for. But I understand what you're saying, that there's going to be a generation growing up with their whole lives online, like documented. It is kind of creepy.
It is creepy, but they're within.
Another
the
thing I
rights.
recently.
Yep.
Another thing I recently learned is I know that after college, but after high school when I went to college, they have many things like Blackboard and some other thing where you submit your assignments online. I thought, oh, that's great. And because I don't have to, very rarely do I actually like write or type things, or write out papers manually with a pen or a pencil. Usually I just use a pen at school for signing the sheet when I walk in. But apparently about the same time, and as of now, in elementary school, a lot of the assignments are, online at home, a lot of the homework. And they still give manual paper assignments to those who are just, poor or don't feel, or for whatever reason they don't have or want a computer. But yeah, it's pretty cool how they're growing up, with computer skills, knowing how to use, an actual computer and how to actually like submit assignments. And as a person with just like terrible handwriting for whatever reason, I think it's actually pretty great, as long as it doesn't have any negative effects. I know a recent school district did something I found kind of cringy. For the kindergarten through 5th graders, they got iPads for the classrooms, and for 6th grade through 12th grade, they got them all Chromebooks.
That's just sad and retarded.
Pretty weird. iPads for one, and Chromebooks for the others.
Well, I guess it's so that like they can read the kids' books on there or something. I don't know, but
Makes sense. Okay.
I figure after 6th grade they're gonna do a lot of heavy typing. Though I remember going back as I had a handwriting disability, so occasionally for papers I got to type back in 2nd grade. This was like 2002.
Did you have one of those
I could use a
typing
computer
machines?
for typing. No, I got to use one of the full desktops they had there. It was some Macintosh Performa 5200 thingy. It was some beige Mac from '95. It had some sort of Apple Works thing. But about after 4th grade, the classrooms had iBooks, which was the Apple shitty thingy, whatever, crapo white something. I don't know. It was just a crappy laptop. And we would just type our, occasionally we would get to type our assignments on there, and they wanted us to, get familiar with technology because they knew that was the future. And even, occasionally when we, like every Friday when we go to the library, we'd do typing classes sort of starting in like 3rd or 4th grade. And yeah, I do know that through 1st through 3rd grade, we'd only computer skills we really learned were like how to play like crappy educational games or something like that, and like kid
Oregon
things.
Trail for the win, though.
Well, I'm not that
toasted
old.
that.
We didn't have Oregon Trail. That's like the 80s, I think.
So
My entire elementary school experience was through 1999 through 2006.
mine's in progress, and it's been pretty interesting seeing, because obviously smartphones happened in my generation growing up. It's been interesting to see the effect that's had on people with just their overall technical capability absolutely going down, since we've moved from people consuming their media on media production devices on now they rather consume that on devices that are solely for consumption. They have no idea the technology behind what they're doing, and it's going to be a hurdle that we have in the coming generations.
But they never did.
Users have always been users.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed
when TVs first came out, no one knew how it worked. It was a magic box.
Still a magic box.
Yeah.
I don't know how televisions work exactly.
Something about photons or something.
When a business executive really loves a network, he goes into a room with them and they turn off the lights. And 6 months later, the stork delivers a TV show.
I was wondering where you're going with that, because I first thought you were saying network, like local network, stuff like that, internet-based. And I was like, where is he going?
Kori just mentioned that we do have topics.
We certainly do. But we just took the longest and most interesting tangent the Teknik has ever been on. So thank you, Vendor and Delusion.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I actually do like when we have something that just turns into conversation-y type of thing.
I do too. I like listening to those. I do too when I'm listening to the podcast.
Well, actually, this
I said not.
This tangent actually leads into some of the stuff on the topic list.
Well, I propose we make a longer podcast episode today, just for fun. Like a 4-hour
we still have
episode.
45 minutes of this podcast.
Let's make a 4-hour episode. No problem.
Oh God. Anyways, so like speaking of in the classroom stuff like that, new technology. At the keynote that Microsoft did, they brought up the Surface Hub, which is basically kind of like those smart boards that they introduced to the schools. I think it was like 4 years ago. But it's an 84-inch 4K TV, has a full computer inside, has cameras so it basically has a Kinect in it, and it has built-in a special hybrid OS type thing for managing meetings, stuff like that. So you go up, schedule a meeting, and then everything is saved there. And then once the meeting's over, everyone that was in that meeting gets an email or whatnot in their Microsoft accounts with all the information from that meeting.
It's very interesting.
Cool.
That's a legitimately good idea from a company that I thought didn't have any good ideas.
Microsoft? They're chock full of them.
Oh, one thing I'm happy with what they're doing is just the total unification they're doing, where all the devices, you've got your phone, the desktop, the tablet, it's called Windows 10. It's got a different interface for each one, but apps can run on all three with just minimal support for each one.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And it's just called Windows 10. It's not Windows for Phone 10, no Windows Tablet 10, Windows RT, Windows 10.
Yeah. So going into Windows 10 apps,
applications.
Universal applications are a nice idea. They brought it in with Windows 8.1 and Windows Phone 8.1, but it hasn't really caught on. But it was leading towards the more unification of all the OS across the different device schemes. But it's nice to be able, like, they have their Office now in a unified app. So it's the same exact Office on your phone as it is on your tablet, on your PC, and possibly even like your Xbox or whatnot.
The different interface code for each one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it kind of looks like the Surface Hub is part of part of that movement. Even it's sort of them. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of getting ahead of some technologies. But yeah, I think unification. It's the exact same thing that Apple needs to do between iOS and OS 10. That is never gonna fucking happen.
Yeah, because Apple did introduce their, what is it called, like continuity or whatnot?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's basically a protocol where they sync all the different actions between devices, but it's still a separate OS on each device. It's just that they talk to each other.
It's a different OS with a different metaphor, with which I guess you could say the same thing is true of like Windows Phone and say like just Windows 8 on a tablet or Windows RT. It's a different feeling and metaphor. But iOS and OS 10 even they feel like they're on different fucking planets, And Microsoft at least standing there and saying like, "Hey, we're gonna take all of this shit and we're gonna put it in the same bag," is a smart, it's a smart idea.
Smarter is them giving the free upgrades.
Yes. Yeah, that too.
Because they're unifying their entire platform so they can develop what is current instead of all of this legacy shit, which ends up being the biggest overhead for Microsoft making decisions. If everybody hops ship off of 7 and XP and all whatever fucking Vista, I don't know why you would ever be doing that to yourself anyway. But if everybody gets onto Windows 10, then they can focus on that instead of all of the older support.
And one of the things during the keynote that Sadea had said that really proves that they're moving forward is that they are looking to not make an OS for customers. They want the customers to help them make the OS. And that's the whole insider program that they started. While Windows 7, Windows 8, they did have their technical previews, stuff like that, but there was no real feedback that you could give to them that was seriously adopted. But with like the insider program for Windows 10, a lot of the feedback is being seen in each new update, and the developers are actually listening to what the users are saying.
So, Uncle, you're using the Windows 10 bug preview, right?
Yeah.
So, like, what do you think of it?
I'm liking it. There are still some quirks, obviously, a lot of quirks, but the UI is kind of clunky right now, just because yeah. And it's still in development, but they did cater back to the start menu, which does work as before, but it also has the added start menu from Windows 8, the tiles and live tiles, stuff like that. Cortana, I've been using it on my phone for a while. I think it's a great addition. The live listening can be turned off, so for everyone who doesn't want it, they can turn it off.
Thank God.
It's opt-in, not opt-out, which is good.
Thank God.
What have you used Windows 10 on?
I have it on my desktop.
All right.
What is live listening?
So basically,
Cortana's always listening to you.
Yeah.
Kind of like Google Now.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah. So you can say like, "Hey Cortana," and it would do whatever you ask it to.
Like you'll be there in front of your computer and you'll be like, "Hey Cortana, like I have a meeting at 3:00. Can you write that down for me?" She'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that for you," without having to like open a program specifically for that.
Does it work if I ask for a BJ?
Yeah,
only sometimes.
Better believe it. CD drive just pops out. You're ready to
go.
Actually,
hooray for non-free software.
It might in the future with the new Microsoft product that they showed on
Shaft.
No, the Microsoft HoloLens.
Is that in partnership with Bad Dragon?
No, it's their new AR system, augmented reality.
Yeah, I've seen. I've read about it. It's supposed to be really amazing.
It looks really fucking good. Like the headset looks good.
Yeah.
Press weren't even allowed to record audio or anything, so we don't really know anything about what they've said.
Yeah, but also, while they weren't allowed to record audio, the reporters did say that what they experienced was the same thing that they demoed on stage. It's just that the hardware itself is not in a form that's quite ready yet.
I don't know how much I can trust Microsoft on this kind of stuff, though. I maybe, I'm sitting here stroking my Unix beard, but like, there's a.
It's hot.
Just
put on your Cupid, just all the chicks.
Yeah, it works, dude. It totally works. And then
I think that the feedback thing might, for the enthusiast crowd, might have a negative effect on them, because when the majority of people are saying, "Hey, we want this," and the majority of people are also the same people who could barely turn it on, that might cause a problem. I realize that's actually a good thing for Microsoft, because that means they're going to appeal to the people they make the most money from. But the
insider program, you need to have some technical skills to get into it. So the people who can't turn their
technical are we
PC
talking?
on won't be getting into the Insider program.
And
Oh.
and let's face it, most of the power user stuff on Windows is third party. If
Yeah,
you're changing
I'm
stuff,
surprised
it's third
they-
party.
I'm surprised
PowerShell-
Microsoft hasn't made like an advanced and like a simple UI for each like demographic. Like it'd be yeah.
More bug
Well, that's what
reports.
Windows 8 was, wasn't it? Because like it's got a bunch of live tiles.
Yeah,
No,
it
I'm dead
was
serious.
more of a
It's
it
a more
was
stripped
more of
down
a
kind of
enthusiast
metaphor, I guess.
But
well, Windows
fact of
10
the matter is
actually
most-
is what you're asking for, Pro, because it has the Windows 7 power user type interface, but it also has the Windows 8 user-friendly interface baked in as well.
And Metro applications can run in the desktop at windowed.
Yeah, they run just like regular x86 applications.
Really nice.
And then also when you're in tablet mode for touch-based interfaces, your x86 programs work just like your Metro applications. So
And it's-
swiping does the same thing, all that stuff.
Can it switch
So if I
automatically? Can I dock it and then it goes into desktop mode?
Yes.
Nice.
if I have it set to the full screen start screen mode, that means I can't use it like a regular desktop when I launch programs.
Yeah, you can.
It's just the desktop's
Oh,
gonna be on a
just the
tile.
Metro. Okay.
It'll launch in the context of the desktop app.
Yeah.
I legitimately like the start screen better in all
Holy
applications.
shit.
I think we're just
You are
old
gay.
and grumpy.
Everyone's mad at Windows.
Yeah. Well, other than me,
I'm not.
I too just recently moved over this year in between the last two podcasts actually to Windows for some C sharp seashells down by the seashore. Jesus Christ, some C sharp development, and it's been an okay desktop experience compared to Linux, I would say.
Yeah, I
stuff
kinda-
works I was expecting.
Linux is a kernel.
I kind of
Yes,
There we
thank
go.
you. Thank
It's
you.
an app, guys.
Before you go calling it GNU plus Linux, remember the init is part of a POSIX. I mean, part of an OS is defined by POSIX.
You technically don't need an init. You could just like put Emacs there. It's your OS. Then again, that's probably going to be a GNU thing still, anyways.
Fucking noob.
What's up, Kori?
fucking Github.
Noob. That's
Yeah.
good.
But yeah, they even brought in some new features to try and make it a little more work friendly for those who are used to Linux, like the multiple workspaces.
Really nice.
Which actually, we talked about this last podcast, is a feature of NT right now. It's in NT,
Yeah.
but it's not exposed to the
Disabled.
user in
Yeah.
any way.
Have any
Weird.
third-party programs exposed it?
Yeah. Well,
Directly?
actually, a second-party program is exposed it directly. It's called I think it's just called something lazy, like virtual workspaces. And I've been using it, but the workspaces are a lot more containerized than workspaces would be in Linux.
I
don't
remember
know what
on
I mean.
I remember on XP, virtual workspace programs were just completely broken, all of them.
I remember the 90s when Linux already had that.
I remember the 80s before GUIs.
I don't remember
GUI.
much. I'm 19.
GUI.
I remember when Linux had a larger market share than Microsoft.
Did it ever, though?
No.
Exactly.
No.
He
On
remembers the
Only on
future.
servers.
On supercomputers.
99%.
Speaking of not having enough market share,
Oh God.
Oh no.
Here it comes, guys. Our mandatory Crux portion of the Teknik podcast.
Oh boy,
you
Crux.
guessed it. Anyways, yeah, Crux.
Still Crux.
I actually don't have a lot to say about Crux right now. I'd
done?
like to say that.
Yeah, you do.
I like to say that I created a GitHub organization like a couple months ago. Oh, maybe last year. I don't remember. But anyways, we've been working on Crux ports. I've seen a lot of interest in Crux from some people.
We.
As in, yeah, from some people here in
Kind of
in
interesting.
the G Technology channel, and I like to say that most of my productive work has gone into learning how to use Git via the maintaining the Crux ports repo. So I guess the point I'm trying to make here is that you can learn a lot from having a hobby, like from just having just playing around, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, that's how I learned everything I knew about Linux. I mean, GNU plus Linux.
Yeah, this everything I know comes from deciding to install Ubuntu because of G many years ago.
Yeah, you know, people talk about how like they don't learn anything from G or.
I didn't learn anything from them, but they set me in the right direction.
Yeah,
I've actually learned
my
a lot.
spiritual mentor.
Yeah.
Or not spiritual mentor, but just like intellectual buddy to say, here, this is programming languages. C++ is one of them. Go learn it. And that just really like started everything that I was learning into computers.
And occasionally they have helped me with some programming problems I've had.
Yeah.
I got what I learned what I needed to know.
I wish this cracked so bad, but the daily programming tests are very good though.
I learned everything I know about computers from fucko threads.
Fucko?
Also, let's just put it right here. That's the first time Dymatic has laughed at that he didn't really sound like an old man. So congrats Dymatic for being Benjamin Button.
There's a special plateau of sobriety you can hit where you no longer sound like a desert trying to have a windstorm, and I think I've hit that.
Okay.
Bronchitis? Yeah. I'm just dropping that thought right there.
But I think what most people need to do is just like learn to look past the trolling and shit. Underneath like what people say, there's good stuff on there. You gotta look past the stupid shit.
No, well, there's diamonds in the rough. But there's
It
a lot
just
of
happens. Most of it is fucking sand dunes.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with getting trolled. Look at Moot. He got trolled for years and now nothing affects him.
That's true.
Now he's really, really mellow.
So mellow, he stopped being the moderator for 4chan.
Yeah.
The admin.
I think that Moot died and they hired a stunt double to replace him.
But some people actually think that. They think that Chris Poole is not the real one, not the real Moot. That like, because they say that Chris Poole and like the Moot from like 2007 and below or before is very different. I mean,
it could totally be a real Moot might have cashed out because when 8chan was still a thing, still a big thing at least, and then pro if you're like
they're still doing like a constant 3,000 posts an hour. It's not bad.
Yeah, but when it was blowing up, somebody offered to buy the website from Hot Wheels, some venture capitalist, like within the first 3 days. So 4chan absolutely got offers like that early in the days.
Maybe not.
4chan didn't really have explosive growth. It was really slow. So it got really horrible and then it got big. So I don't think they really ever got any offers besides that one that Moot talks about.
What?
Oh, what's that advertising person that's been with Moot forever? I forget.
J-List. Come on, guy. How much you bought from J-List?
I never used 4chan without adblock.
I never used 4chan.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why I couldn't think about that. Let's see. Let's see. Here it is. Christopher Poole rejecting an offer to buy 4chan.
Do you think that there's anybody in our channel that has come in completely independently of 4chan and has never used 4chan?
Yeah, we've got a few people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that company offered to buy a 4chan for $50,000 in 2005, and that's the only one I know about.
A-list.
Why?
I don't know. I wanted it.
Clammy weeaboo bucks.
They didn't want to pay for the ads.
Nice.
That would make sense.
Yeah, this is freaking cool. It's expensive as hell, though. Everything there is overpriced. You want some weeb shit? You can get like better shit off AmiYami.com.
AmiYami?
Yeah.
What? How do I spell that? How do I spell AmiYami?
AMI.
Okay.
That's a message from our sponsors, by the way.
AmiYami. They didn't pay it much though. That's why the prices are so good.
I was just asking Zanthas as a smart ass question where you got your microphone stand because one of the podcasts you had that anime chick holding your microphone.
Hey, they don't even sell candy here.
Yeah,
I have that on right now.
AmiYami doesn't sell candy. Why would I go here?
Why would you want? Oh,
not everyone is hungry.
Yeah, I feel you there. You want some
weird fucking Japanese food?
What's that shit called? Those like Pocky, yeah.
No, I don't want Pocky. You can buy that at the fucking supermarket.
I want some Pocky.
What supermarket sells that?
H-E-B and Walmart and everyone.
Do
Somebody-
you live in like
somebody say HEB.
Chingchongville?
Somebody say
No,
HEB.
I live in fucking Texas,
Yeah.
the South.
Hey, get out, Texas.
Hey,
Get out.
Houston has a bunch of Asians. Last I heard.
Yeah, so does New Jersey. They flock to Atlantic City. All because, too, we had the internment camps. And I live actually next to the largest internment camp. Or not the largest internment camp, but the largest farm from World War II. So we imported a bunch of Japanese people, and fucking boom. We just have a huge Japanese population for no reason. And Mexicans.
Also, there's a
reason for the Mexicans.
plus there's a
Yeah.
biggish city beside me, and so I can go there and go to all kinds of little ethnic shops, and I could buy Pocky at basically all of those. Pakistan still sell it. Asian stores sell it.
It's cheap on
I
Amazon.
don't
You
think
can buy
I
it in bulk on
could
Amazon.
go. I don't think I could ever go to like the Negro zone of Detroit and get Pocky.
Yo. That triggers me, bro.
I
Yeah,
swear to God,
I had the most American meal ever yesterday. I was just going to Walmart. And a funny story too. I was getting changed in the Walmart parking lot, and I hop out of my car all sweaty and stuff from getting changed. And there was somebody actually in the truck next to me. So I hop out after getting changed all sweaty. He absolutely thought I was jerking it. But I bought a box of Pop-Tarts and a bag of M&Ms, and just ate the whole thing.
No.
Just ate.
3,500 calories.
Nah, it was 3,500. You're goddamn on point. It was like 3,500 for the M&Ms, or 3,500 for the Pop Tarts, and 500 calories for the M&Ms.
Is no one going to
this is
ask
gonna sound-
how he knows that number? 3,500 calories?
Because he was talking about it in the channel earlier. And I remembered that number.
This is gonna sound like really weird, but like everyone around me is like really super normal, and it's a lot more than most areas, and I find that strange. I don't know why.
What do you mean?
Normal usually means the average of a population. So in most places, most of the people would be normal.
If it's not, it's some spooky stuff.
No, I mean like most people, like the amount of like weebs, bronies, furries, homestuck, whatever, is like significantly less than you'd
Where do you
find in
live?
like general in most places.
No, I think you expect that to be pretty
I'm not
small.
going to give a
most-
specific location, but it's
State.
one of the more white areas outside of Detroit.
Oh, Detroit. Okay, there you go.
I think the white people are really like the weirdest demographic.
All the Homestuck kids got killed.
Yeah, like this is going to sound kind of weird, but when you think about it, have you ever heard of a pedo that wasn't white?
Yeah, exactly. Like we
No.
developed those weird obsessions with stuff. Everyone else, like Italians, or black
There's
people,
that.
whatever.
There's
Go,
that
go.
black guy who got arrested for.
Fidesz.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember him. He was hilarious though. Like that was
Is
the
there-
funniest pedo I know.
Oh, Thad?
Is
that
there
what you're
such
talking
a
about?
thing as the opposite of
Bad,
bleach?
bad.
Bad,
He
yeah.
actually lives just outside of Detroit, like on the border to the Negro zone.
That's the most hilarious pedo I know.
I could probably just like drive to like about the area where he lives. I know which college he went to.
Where he
too.
lived. Where he
You should
lived.
go hang out with him.
He
He's-
lives on a place
he's in
called
jail
9
now.
Mile.
Wait, he was in jail though. Is he out?
He's in jail still.
Yeah, I would think he is. He definitely got arrested.
Walking distance of crack
Anyways.
houses.
I mean, he definitely got arrested because he is a pedo.
This stupid ass. Like
He was like super retarded about it. Like I don't even think he was really just a pedo. I think he was just like memeing or something.
Hey,
Yeah,
were we
he
supposed
was.
to get
Funny.
back on topic like really a few minutes ago?
It's alright. Well, we can just cut this shit out.
What's the topic again?
We have topics.
Crux.
Lizard Squad.
Oh yeah, we're actually
Or
gonna talk about.
Crux.
I was just
Weren't we?
Snapchatting this whole time. This is the most distracted podcast I've ever
I
had.
was actually gonna
Crux is
going to
Crux.
say something else.
Good.
What?
Like I don't think enough people give enough attention to the fringe distros, like the specific purpose ones.
Like Sabayan.
French?
Fringe.
Yes,
Oh, fringe.
fringe.
Fringe. Okay.
I thought you were talking about French.
Fringe.
I was like
Not
Sabayan.
the French
Yeah.
distros.
That's
The
Italian.
French distros. No, but really, there's a lot of really small distros out there that are really great actually. Like they have some really interesting features that with bigger market share. I could put it that way. They would
Well,
actually
just by
be one of-
definition of being a fringe feature makes it so most people wouldn't want it.
Oh no, fringe in the way that they are
Not known
out of the
about.
mainstream.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't really experiment with that much because, I mean, I spent a lot of time messing with distros, but I installed Gentoo, and I did install Gentoo a few times, but I ended up just back on Ubuntu, Ubuntu.
Casual.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting distros out there that could fit a lot of users' workflows, but they don't really look past the mainstream distros like Debian or Ubuntu or Fedora, and they just say Linux sucks.
Like that one
some
that
examples?
has the alternative file system. What's that called? It's like Plex.
Gobo Linux. It's
Gobo
actually a
Linux.
Brazilian project.
God, that's-
I found that
my
out
God.
recently.
Oh God, no.
Go Linux.
That's a horrible Linux distribution.
Yeah, I don't really like that. But there's this interesting distro. It's called Void Linux. Have you guys ever seen that?
I've heard of that.
Yeah, all over.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Want to describe it?
Yes, I have.
It's
Yeah, I thought it was pretty neat.
it's a distro that takes a lot of its philosophies, I guess, from like old Arch Linux, kind of the minimalism, but it doesn't brand them in like a faggy way like the Arch way.
It doesn't
And
have a
also-
lot of packages, from what I understand.
And yeah, because it's a small distro, and it uses its own package manager called XBS.
XBPS, yeah.
XBPS, sorry. And instead of having System Daemon or Upstart or System 5 in it, it uses Run It and just stuff like that. Alternative things. It's pretty cool. I think it needs more love.
Yeah, and I said this in Crux, like the Crux channel on Freenode, a month ago or so. That Crux is like Subway. You build it the way you want to, and no one even really gives a shit. And it's actually being mentioned a lot of times now, that metaphor. I'm actually pretty happy about that.
I hear about Crux a lot, even though I don't see people using it. I hear people talking about it a lot.
It's just a very, very, very small minority of people that you see talking about Crux that are just really vocal about it.
Kori.
AKA me.
The online classes at my college for Linux actually use Crux, but in the classroom they just use like regular normal Ubuntu.
I still want to find that Linux distribution that I really love, like a lot. I guess
It's
like
called
Kori's-
Windows.
No. I used to love
Linux from scratch.
I used to love
I'm sorry,
Debian.
guys. I'm sorry, guys. Uncle D actually mispronounced that. He meant to say Lindows, that Linux distribution that looks like Windows.
Oh yes, that's my favorite. I love that one.
Yes, of course. Sorry. Thank you, Kori.
What
No
distros
problem.
are you
Best
guys on
of
right
both
now?
worlds.
So what distros are you on right now? All of y'all.
I think you guys already know.
Oh, okay.
No,
That's
no,
on
no.
Ubuntu.
I would shit
Desktop
about using
Ubuntu.
Windows.
Laptop OpenSUSE. Server Debian. Ubuntu
Hey, man.
OpenSUSE.
What version of
I use
OpenSUSE?
Arch for everything.
You mean your server?
Yeah, believe it or not, I was using
Holy
Ubuntu, and for whatever retarded reason, it didn't like 4 terabyte hard drives. When I formatted, when I was trying to test the hard drives to see with other distros, I noticed that when I used one of the live CDs based on Arch, that it just worked. And Arch is going to be the most stable and easiest to set up, and so I just sort of decided, well, I might as well use that, and it just works. What can I say? I found that a systemd is actually pretty easy to set up as far as the server goes.
Yeah, from a user perspective, it definitely is.
It is
I
a lot
just
easier
like
to set up. I do think that it's a lot nicer to do than all the previous solutions. That it is actually better than what we had before, but personally, I still think it's actually pretty bad as far as overall.
I dislike a lot of the individual decisions, but I love using systemd. I love just interacting with it and making services. It all just works really well.
Well,
My Linux
just
class
on
using
the topic,
Fedora,
and we'll go on.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, a lot of time we're using Fedora in our class, and people sort of aren't getting it that it's moved to systemd, and they're trying all these older tutorials for stuff when they can't figure stuff out, and it's not working.
That's unfortunate. That Harvard, I don't know what school you're in pro of, but Harvard uses a Fedora virtual machine for all their work, but they use an outdated version, so it wouldn't be on systemd yet. You would think there'd be some kind of translation layer between different init systems, like systemd. If you give it it would provide a binary that just symlinks to the systemd binary or something.
Well, systemd can run systemv in its daemons services.
That's smart. I didn't know that.
It's obviously, not the best solution, and a few things break, but for the most part, it'll run 99% of sysv init services.
Anyways, on topic, but not talking about systemd, I really, really, really want to try Alpine Linux. You guys ever heard of that as well?
Heard of it?
Yes.
I've heard it in passing. I don't have any idea what it is or does.
It's a Linux distribution focused on security that uses the musl, libc, and busybox. So it's actually, it can be really tiny.
No GNU.
No GNU.
Except for glibc. Oh wait.
Yeah,
Also,
it's gonna.
never mind. Well, it has it there anyways. It does have it there. You know it. You know it.
I don't.
You know it. It has to have it there. Our programs won't work without glibc.
It's deep in there.
You're never getting rid of GNU. Never.
Anyways,
Stallman was right.
It's source based, and you have a couple options of kernels that you can use a vanilla kernel, or you can use a kernel patch for grsec. Sorry?
Nothing.
Okay.
Wow, Kori. I mean, wow.
Other Kori.
Other Kori.
As far as oh my god, just squeaked out. As far as fringe distros go,
Yes,
I would say
I want to talk about.
What?
That's exactly what I want to talk about. Keep going.
Okay, I'm probably going to mention the one you were going to mention. I don't know if you call it fringe though. Is Samyon?
It's actually losing its popularity now.
Yeah, it's losing steam too. Just development steam. Oh, not steam in the program, just like steam effort. I feel like they used to make huge strides over what Gen 2 is, and now they haven't been trying to fix the issues it has or anything. But it used to be such a good distribution.
It was a good distribution. After Debian, that's the distro I really used for a while. It makes me sad that it's kind of dead, and that it's a shitty version of Arch Linux now.
Oh, I didn't know this. Fun2 actually changed the look of their website.
Yes, Kori. How long have you not gone there?
I don't fucking know, dude. It's been a while. There's a screenshot by Brush Demon there. If you guys know Brush Demon, he's in the channel.
I did not.
Technology.
Yeah. Newer people that I'm not too familiar with in G technology. We've actually had, ever since the Great Purge, which was, I think, the last episode of the Teknik podcast we recorded, we've had some nice new faces around the place.
Yeah.
The Purge did its job.
Yeah.
I like deep in Linux.
Holy shit, dude! I really like the look. I really like the look of the desktop environment, but then you go see in its fucking HTML5, and then
CSS.
the pretty just goes away. Yeah, it's CSS.
It's very Chinese of them, yes.
See, and I'm a real big
racist.
star of Red Star Linux. Real big fan of that. It's what I run on all my machines. I'm really into North Korea, is what I'm saying.
Shite.
Fucking Red Star, dude.
I wonder what the Nazi distribution of Linux would be like if the whole Nazi thing happened like 100 years later.
Linux wouldn't be around.
Yeehaw.
There would be no Stallman.
Actually, you're probably right. Yeah, I guess
It'd be
drive.
whatever
Anyways,
the Nazi distribution would be whatever is made by the XCE guys.
Yeah.
no,
It would be like Cat V, the distribution.
No, it will be only software developed by the Leonard and his team, because Nazis. Anyways, I really want to. Yeah, I really want to. I really want to try Bitrig.
Let's go to the blooper reel. Explain to me Bitrig.
Oh, we talked about it in the last episode. It's OpenBSD fork designed to be more modern in some ways. Like, it's taking more. How can I say it? It's less. I forgot the word. I'm sorry. It's happening all over again.
Holy shit, dude! He's just feeding the blooper reel at this point. We need to know
It's less
intros.
conservative. That's it. It's less conservative about its choices. So it's doing some crazy shit with porting, Clang properly, using Clang as the default compiler, and I think they're doing something with removing some of the security features. I'm not sure about that. I might be wrong.
It seems kind of strange because, like, the entire point of OpenBSD at this point is, it's a classic Berkeley distribution with some modern stuff like Wi-Fi jammed on.
Oh no. Oh yeah, and Bitrig. There's the changelog right here. I have it. It's trying to remove all shit from GNU from the base system.
That I can understand. And this is OpenBSD, not FreeBSD?
Yeah, this is OpenBSD based. It's a fork, and it's trying to push some more modern file system support because OpenBSD only supports FFS by default, I think, and of course FAT32.
But yeah, it's really ancient. It's it's a Berkeley distribution with some stuff jammed on.
There's a roadmap. Oh yeah, and it's being developed on GitHub, so getting into the development of the distro is easier if you're like not used to the old shit. There's no CVS also, so there's that.
I want to talk a little bit about GCC for a second.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but I lost connection.
Oh, shit, dude. Is the recording good?
I don't even know.
Oh, I'm recording, so my recording's good.
It's there's like a 10-minute gap where you weren't recording.
I like the last.
Oh yeah, I need that file.
Okay.
I like that the last episode was called technical support because it's exactly what we need right now. But I was thinking you were saying that they use Clang over GCC. Does anybody know the internals of GCC or like how any of that runs?
I personally
supposedly some of it.
It's mostly Lex/YACC, right?
Yes,
so it's mostly just lexical and analyzing.
But here's the interesting part with GCC, because I've been following the development of Rust-C, which is the Rust compiler. So I've gotten a little bit of an overview of how different compilers are set up, especially with something called compiler. What you would consider like compiler plugins or like extensions that modify the grammar of the language in an intermediate form called AST, which is just like the fucking abstract syntax tree. Holy fuck, that's a technical paragraph. Anyway, I was reading about GCC and how it protects its software freedom. In addition to being GPL, what Stallman deliberately did with GCC is obfuscated the hell out of the AST, so you can't make any useful plugins for GCC.
The idea of it is that you'd just integrate whatever you have into GCC, rather than making a proprietary extension or something.
Exactly. Which, okay, I see that's smart, because when you have to modify it at source level, then you're locked into the GPL. But I think they've shot themselves in the foot, and the GCC deprecated jokes are going to become reality at some point pretty soon with Clang.
Well, from what I once heard that CC was actually obfuscated at some points just because they want to make extra sure that like other people aren't using it for other things, even though it's GPL.
Not sure about that.
Okay. You gotta realize, I guess what people have to think about is GCC was written like 30 years ago, almost around there.
Remember, it was rewritten. It's been rewritten in C++ completely.
But you have a point. But like, it was like a time, like I'm not gonna say like Stallman did. I think that's pretty retarded. I think at the time it was kind of necessary to like ensure that like the GPL and the free software movement would be successful. Not really necessary now, but yeah, that's all I want to say.
I mean, look at Clang. We're never gonna see open support for Apple's language because they just went with Clang and they forked it, and they're keeping all their changes. So we'll never see an open source version of their language till someone else implements it.
What Apple's language? You mean
Objective-C?
No,
Okay.
no, their new language. Swift, yeah.
Slow.
That's Clang.
Swift is slower than Ruby.
That's impressive, actually.
That actually is.
That was actually, we talked about that in the last podcast.
Especially because isn't it a compiled language?
Yeah, it is, I think.
But slower in what? Like little benchmarks or like?
You find
it's ironic that it's named Swift, honestly.
Someone on Tech actually was using Swift, and they got an error message saying that like they couldn't convert int 18 or something like that to int 18. So basically, it had some stupid error saying that it couldn't use something else, even though it was the same type of variable. I don't know. It was weird.
Fun. I mean, I don't actually want Swift, but it's just a point of how easy it is for people for them to take advantage of it being BSD. We'll never see Swift.
But Swift isn't really Swift at all.
Just ironic
Really
name.
matter.
Anyone use Swift? I've been so curious about it ever since it came out. I've never heard of Objective-C or Swift. I heard the Swift has some of the static things that I like just from being a type nerd, but I don't know if I would use an Apple-only language like Swift.
Okay, Zanthas has linked something interesting about it. The headlines, it's too slow for production.
Apparently, it's slower than Ruby Motion by a second and some.
That's pretty bad, but I don't know what they're planning to do with that.
I should clarify, slower than Ruby for the same task, that is.
That's sad.
Ruby is an outstanding or an outlier language though, because it was developed specifically to be pleasant to write, not any consideration taken to compile speed whatsoever.
Yeah,
That's not an excuse for its sucking butts.
I like Ruby, to be honest.
Yeah, it writes well. That's the point. I like the postfix conditionals. How, like, you can say, return my thing if x is greater than 2. It's such a simple thing to implement into your language, but a lot don't have it. I've been using a lot of C# lately, so Uncle just crossed his legs.
What?
Actually, the whole cross your legs thing, I don't know if that's an actual thing. I saw a movie trailer once where somebody was popping a boner, and to hide it, he crossed his legs to like hide that from the people he was with. And I was like, I was a teenager and stuff when I was still just like boners out of the blue. So it's like, I'm going to use that. And I just started crossing my legs every time I would sit down. And to this day, I cannot sit without my legs crossed. What were we
To hide
about?
what?
Boners.
Boner.
Oh.
Talking about boners.
Once in like 10th grade, I was wearing these basketball shorts, and just at exactly the wrong time, I had to walk up to the classroom and grab like my test from like the teacher's desk. Like, basically, I had like a flagpole, and I'm glad there's no lamps in there because something would have got knocked down, especially in those pants.
Technology.
Yeah, I was trying to talk about C# and somehow I ended up talking about dicks. Like, the story...
That's just a natural progression.
Careened into dicks.
Holy shit, I'm tired.
I'm the opposite of tired. I've been eating beans the whole time.
Eating what?
Let's talk about some freedom. Should talk about some freedom.
So I just eat coffee beans. Alright, let's talk about freedom. What's up?
Purism laptops.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
There's been several of those now lately.
I just put a hole in my wall.
How did you put a hole in your wall?
Quality chat right here.
Is this something to do with the beans?
I just elbowed a hole in my wall. Go ahead. Purism.
Anyways, Purism is a company that is developing the first good 100% free laptop, as in hardware free. It respects your freedom and privacy. It will come with a distro based on that distro, which name I can't really pronounce.
GNU Sense?
No, the other one.
Which one?
Purism?
Trisquel.
However you pronounce that.
Oh, that's the fully free one.
And it's also really fucking expensive. It's like...
Is that the one that has the Intel and NVIDIA GPU? The Intel CPU and the NVIDIA GPU?
It has Intel CPU, but no, Intel Iris Pro built-in GPU.
Yeah.
So no NVIDIA.
That's not
deal
free.
with the microcode, yeah.
Are you
It's
talking
not
about
free.
Purism, that one?
Modern Intel CPUs all have microcode. On free by
Yeah, it
FSF
does have some
standards.
non-free stuff, actually.
But and actually open laptops out with the Novena that ARM laptop with the ASIC attached.
Also, if you look closely at the word purism and you sort of, get rid of the U,
This thing I just linked.
Oh,
Illuminati confirmed.
Half-Life 3
Anyways.
confirmed.
Holy shit. A Novena laptop got overfunded as fuck.
Yeah, I really want one of these. If I can afford one of these, well, I can still order them. I'm getting one.
That'll be enough.
Yeah.
What should they cost?
$2,000.
$550
Yeah,
for
okay,
just the
screw
board.
that.
$550 for just the board. And that's a quad-core 1.2 gigahertz, and it has a FPGA attached to it and programmable from it. So that's really powerful if you want to do stuff that you need an FPGA for. It's got a whole bunch of connections. A good
Screw
dev
that.
device.
And the fucking Purism laptop is $1,500 or something like that.
See, this is only $500.
But the Purism laptop is actually a laptop, not a fucking board.
What is the best board by now? Because the Raspberry Pi obviously has lost a bit of its lead on the market. So they're better products now, right?
Yeah, like isn't there something called like the strawberry pie or some shit?
Okay.
It's supposed to be better.
Cheesecake.
So this is something to mention. The Raspberry Pi compatible clone. I don't know if I forget the name of it. It was just a really small Raspberry Pi that actually got shut down because Broadcom stopped selling them chips. They refused to sell them the BCM whatever chip that the Raspberry Pi uses.
Why is that? They're making money.
I don't know. They won't sell it to them. No press release. I think it's Broadcom.
Anyways, hold on. The company, the Purism company, is working with the manufacturers like Intel and such to release the code they're using. The code they're using on the hardware that's going to be used on a laptop. So it's a completely free laptop.
If they can get the microcode I will be seriously impressed.
Yeah, I seriously consider buying the laptop just because it looks really nice. And free software. I'd honestly just run OpenBSD or something.
Haha. Lying, it would work on there.
Fuck GNU.
Plan 9 for life.
Hashtag Plan 9.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. OpenBSD. Yeah, right. The kernel for AMD 64 got the friggin' memory protection shit they use there. I forgot the name.
Oh, I think I was on the wrong key the whole time I was talking there. What kind of memory protection shit did they get?
Where the memory page or whatever is only if it's writable, you can't execute it. If it executable, you can't write to it.
Yeah, executable bit, and you can have a writable area with the executable bit, but the OS doesn't like it, and if you're running anything like SE Linux, it'll just stop it completely because that's really dumb.
No, but it's for OpenBSD. This specific feature.
I'm not sure if OpenBSD will let you have writable sections that can be executed. I would hope not.
I don't think it does. Well, the kernel itself, the kernel address spaces got that treatment, so you have that extra security there. That's for AMD 64. But again, I'm just running through the list of topics just so we talk about everything.
Yeah, we should just straight go through, script through the list of topics and just be done with them because we've been holding on to them for months and through multiple recordings and all that kind of stuff.
How much time do we have left?
Since pretty much no one is caring about anything, let's just talk about something no one really cares about.
Crux?
Computer Science Education Week and Crux too. Let's talk about Crux.
Computer Science Education. Oh, Crux.
So that was going to be a relevant thing the week we were having the podcast, 10 weeks ago. So no longer a thing. There's Computer Science Education Week. Nobody gives a fuck. End of story.
See, no more topics. Well, no more of that topic.
There's the whole HP thing, which we haven't talked about that, but I'm so ready for it. My body's just prepared.
I think it's bullshit.
I don't know. There are people that have been following us since 2006. They're saying this is changing
what is it?
Computers.
We're talking about HP's The Machine.
Oh yeah, it's gonna change computers forever, dude.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be big. Memory transistors is the technology that we're talking about, which basically makes your read-write speeds. I have a bug on me. Oh,
I think he just died.
fucking stink bugs. It makes read-write speeds the same in hard drive as it is in RAM, basically, which is amazing for big servers that are pouring through data.
Like, and
How
then
does it do
saves.
that?
Magic.
How? Okay.
Magic. What else?
We gonna talk about Lizard Squad? Or we're talking about
Lizard
Squad?
Squad.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Lizard
Wizard
Squad.
Squad.
Bunch of fucktards.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
so-
skitties. It's just skitties again. It's just lolsec except dumber.
Yeah, basically. So what's the actual story that you guys are that's actually in the notes? Because I don't have the notes.
Lizard Squad.
Yeah.
Is it just Lizard Squad?
Yeah, so
Squad.
everything that's happened.
They're
And
skitties. They have a botnet, and they had a website where you could tell the botnet to attack people, and you paid for it in Bitcoin.
yeah,
And
and I guess. Go ahead.
And they also took down. That was them that took down the gaming networks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
they took down PSN and Xbox Live, and then I think all you full chan retards. I think they're also the guys who took down 8chan.
And at least some of the members have already been caught, right?
Their
Yeah, at least two of them.
services took down 8chan. Lizard Squad themselves weren't the ones who sicked
Yeah.
their service on it.
Their boot was used on 8chan, but
Yeah.
what's kind of come.
I wonder if they would have DDoSed their own site if you paid for it.
Oh, probably.
Someone go pay for it.
I'll go
It's
see if I
down,
can.
isn't it?
Oh, is it down already?
So somebody did. There you go.
Some group supposedly called Gamer Ghazi is the one that sent the attack on 8chan, and they paid for it.
Yeah, which is all just blow over from the fucking Gamergate retard blow, just all that garbage going on. But so the big thing with Lizard Squad, the thing I think is really interesting is actually the theory behind how the stressor actually works. Like, have you guys heard any of this stuff?
No,
Actually, I haven't looked into it that much.
I haven't looked into their technical details at all.
Yeah,
Okay,
for nothing.
Yeah, so I might be talking out of my ass here, but my understanding is that the way that the stressor actually works is that they've got just a huge set of routers that they've cracked that are one's particular manufacturer, because they know the default admin name and password. So they've got all these cracked routers that are running some sort of custom code that they're then using to work this stressor, which is brilliant, because a lot of the time in situations where you've got, like, I have a DDoS cannon, it's usually coming out of the similar geographic areas. So it's like, well, if Germany is DDoSing the site, I can shut down all of Germany.
For a while.
Yeah. So whereas in the case of the Lizard stressor, it's over such a long, it's over such a wide geographic area, and a whole bunch of those routers are in the States, that they can't just shut down any one area.
Yeah.
So, which is part of the reason why it was so successful, is because it didn't, there wasn't a really easy way to stop it. So, it's some of it's skitty bullshit, and if you want a really good example of this, on Packet Storm, there was that's the botnet code. It turns out their site, you can pull off XSS on it, and you can do a whole bunch of injection stuff on their site. Their site is put together like a piece of shit, which is part of the reason, my understanding is that they actually put out the logs for who paid for the stressor. But yeah, it's a bizarre fucking, this whole thing has just been insanity.
It's worth noting that finding those devices has gotten a lot easier with stuff like mass scan, because with the 10 gigabit connection, you can scan the whole internet in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Of the whole IPv4 space.
Love seeing that show up with their logs too.
So finding these devices has become extraordinarily easy.
Hold on, I just want to say that I'm leaving, so bye guys.
Oh, bye,
and enjoy
Kori,
the rest of the podcast.
Where you going, bro?
Just leave.
I have to leave pretty soon too. So the stuff's going down, which is why I've been kind of quiet the whole time in the podcast. Sorry for that, by the way. So
Found out my friends are gonna go to PAX South, drive down there without me. I'm sad. I have work tomorrow. I can't go.
Gosh, that sucks, dude.
You should not have work and go down.
Oh, Zanthas going down.
I missed like in the last week 4 days of work. So I can't miss anymore.
Were you sick?
Yeah.
Everyone I know has been sick. This season is so bad.
All right, so I'm gonna split out too. The only thing I really wanted to get across was that Lizard Squad thing because I think it's neat. But yeah, so I will.
It was.
Thanks for letting me on, guys, and I'll talk to you all later.
All right, hope to see you around, man.
Yeah, glad to have you.
All right, well, let's sign off then.
This is Uncle D signing off.
This is Zanthas signing off.
Witheld signing off.
Sayonara, cunts.
This is Pro Wolf signing off.